Let's talk about why work is not just work for some people. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I have worked in the mental health field for many years. I want to respond to Big Moves for me's comment. I don't understand this. I take work seriously because I'm a professional and I want to do well, but I don't understand bullying and backstabbing and sabotaging. It's just work. And, I would have said the same thing as you, but what I have come to learn and grow to understand over the years is that there are a lot of people that go through stuff at home or just in general, right? Whether it be that they have a fragile ego or they need ego boost or things aren't going well at home. So they want to bring whatever their stuff is to work and take it out there. So you get the bullying and stuff, and a lot of times, people that bully, become bullies at work are, basically being bullied at home. Not in all cases. In some cases, they're a bully at work and a bully at home. But in a lot of cases, people that come to work and they want to, take it out on everybody. It's because they're going through the ringer at home. They don't get any respect. Their spouse doesn't like them, their kids don't like them or respect them, and so they come to work and take it out on everybody else because, they're in a supervisor position or because they can, right? And so that's the way that they sort of get their needs met, they get their ego boost and all of that, right? And it's something that they feel good about. And what I've come to learn too, there's another part to this that I've come to learn is that I'm sorry, there's banging going on outside. I'm not sure what that is. But there's people that lack self-awareness in terms of how they show up. And I tell you, one of the things that really teaches me about this, like in terms of how people show up, is like when I leave a job or when it's time to just when I've left and I've moved on, and how like goodbyes manifest. So like when it's time to say goodbye, it's interesting that what you have is you have the person that is like, maybe treated you badly or never really spoke to you, like having the most difficult time with saying goodbye, or people that like are angry about saying goodbye, or people that suddenly want to keep in touch and like have all of this conversation with you. And so I see, sort of that manifest. So sometimes people lack self-awareness in terms of how they show up, but they actually may feel differently about you internally. So I always keep that in mind. And people do surprise you and have surprised me over the years. I remember leaving when I left in corrections, like, some people that I didn't think would, would care one way or the other really, took it to heart and was like, goodbye, and, got me gifts and stuff like that. So that was really sweet to see, but it was also surprising, because I really wasn't, I wasn't expecting much. But, it sort of manifests in that way. And then, I especially now, I feel like now, in trying times where like, we have stuff with the government, people are struggling with finances and things like that. I feel like, again, those internal challenges may lead to people lacking self-awareness in terms of how they show up. And a lot of people don't look at it as bullying or backstabbing or sabotaging, believe it or not. They just look at it as just the way that I am. Or if I talk to a lot of white colleagues, keeping culture and context here, that they just believe that that's just how it is, or that's what they deserve, and it can be certainly a cultural nuance in a lot of places. Like, I've seen people do some dirty things at work, and they're just like, well, this is just how it is. And I've had colleagues that I've seen do dirty, dirty, dirty stuff, and they're like, well, Dr. Jones, they'll tell me about it before they're going to do it. And I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea. But they'll be like, I better have your support though. Like, I need to have your support, so it's all about like, when people are in a certain profession, yes, and even mine, They want to pull rank and they expect allegiance and alliance. I mean, even when they know that they're doing something wrong, they expect that allegiance. They expect like that professional courtesy, whatever especially from somebody like me, right, who gets really respected from the job. So like if I don't like I don't have any problems with having enemies at work. I'd rather not have any. But, if you don't like me, it is what it is. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But when you do your job well and you get like a lot of respect for it, people want your support despite their wrongdoings. And unfortunately, it has, maybe in the past it's worked out for them where they've had uh, that unwavering respect, or they've been given a pass. Because I think that's also another thing that happens is like when they're given a pass, or when a supervisor commends them and says, I think you're doing a great job, and they sort of, pat them on the head or pat them on the back when they're doing something dirty, or when they're sabotaging or backstabbing their colleagues. When they get that reinforcement from supervisor, or even worse, upper level management, then that's kind of where that ego boost and stuff comes in. And so they then want to do more and more of it, because if you think about it, sabotaging and bullying and backstabbing for them can be a lot easier than actually just doing their damn work. And because a lot of people don't get promoted up through the ranks based on merit, meaning that they don't get promoted based on good quality work. They get promoted on saying yes and doing whatever management wants you to do, and not causing any problems by giving a pushback. But otherwise, people who do good quality work and actually have great work based on merit, usually they're dumped on, and they're usually taken through the ringer and given more and more work, because they've shown that they can handle the brunt of the work. So they'll continue to get dumped on and get the majority of the work, and so on and so forth. But I think too, if people see that they're going to get rewarded, they're going to continue to do it. The other thing is that people don't get punished for it, or it's overlooked, which happens a lot, unfortunately. Then, hey, what do they have to lose? People only do stuff that they're allowed to get away with, by and large, or that's reinforced. And I find, through the latter part of my career being employed, I found that HR, management, and things like that, they weren't even speaking to employees about bad behaviors. And that when your bad behavior starts to infringe upon me, I have a problem. And so their whole outlook was like, I don't want to get sued, or I don't want to do anything about it. And so people would just be allowed to not work and have this bad sense of professionalism. And I've gotten into it with some of my colleagues, because I've talked to them one-on-one about being unprofessional, and that's what you're supposed to do ethically, and that's what I'll do as a common courtesy. But people do not like it when you talk to them. They feel like they should just sort of be allowed to be entitled to do what they want to do, show up how they want to show up. And I'm finding more and more that people don't even appreciate like professional courtesy of one-on-one conversations. And then they just do what they want to do, and then when they're tired, really tired, then they'll just pack it up and leave.